talk about AI, this topic in the Web3 space. I know it's been trending for a while, right? But today, finally, it's a time. Let's talk about it. And we are very glad to have two amazing builders in the Web3 AI space. I'm going to remove our banner for now and reveal our speakers and reveal everyone over here. Would you like to say hi? And how about starting from Trevor? Would you like to introduce yourself and your project to our audience? Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Moonlight. Yeah. Hello, I'm Trevor, founder of Tagger. So Tagger is basically a data labeling, collection, management, and trading platform. And here you can label specialized data sets, so as in medical, agricultural, or autonomous driving systems for like, BYD or Tesla, like all of these type of segmentation models. So anyone can come here and label these specialized data sets without professional industry knowledge. So like, for example, for a lung nodule, a CT scan, like traditionally, we need doctors to actually label those images because people wouldn't know where a malicious nodule is, what it actually looks like. But we have pre-trained models to detect roughly where the target is so that our users or our workers can actually identify where it is and label that irregular shape of the lung nodule with a few simple mouse clicks. So in that case, we have a peer-to-peer or community framework to review all of the data with AI assistance. So in that case, much like how Bitcoin, they have a lot of validators, they have a lot of miners on the platform. So here we run a D Corp model, so decentralized corporation. So currently, for example, here on Scale AI, which is the Web2 equivalent of a data labeling company, they have roughly 2,000 employees to date. But once it grows to, for example, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, right, the managerial and operational costs rises very, very steeply, exponentially, because you have so many people to manage, so many offices to build. But in a Bitcoin network or in a decentralized model, so in a D Corp, we can host 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, anywhere near that without any steep exponential managerial costs, because it's a community framework that autonomously runs with the autonomous systems. So in that case, currently we have just a bit under 300K active wallets on our website. Yeah. So yeah, that's our D Corp model, and we're just pushing all of the data labeling forward with authentication as well.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Trevor, for the intro. And of course, today, because we are streaming across multiple platforms, right? I saw that we already had audience on our X live streaming, Binance live streaming, as well on Kickstart, Sidekick, and also on Blue Space. So lots and lots of different places. And our audience, maybe their knowledge with AI and Web3 are in different levels. So maybe during today's discussion topic, if both our speakers can use as simple terms as possible to explain the concept, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. And next, let's welcome Kai, the founder of Swarms, to introduce yourself and your project to us. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Moonlight, for having me on here. I'm Kai, founder of Swarms. Previously, I've been doing AI research for a considerable amount of time. I started doing research when I was around 13 years old. And I first built a research lab called Agora. And we basically built like all new foundation models that we trained. We weren't in Web3 at all yet. We were just training foundation models, like new model architectures, trying to compete against like the models that built ChatGPT, trying to make them faster, trying to make them learn images, video, audio, because most AI models can't really process these types of data. And so Swarm started off as a research project there. And it really started off with a very interesting observation that if you have just one AI model, it's kind of useless because it has a memory system that gets very quickly overloaded. The accuracy is also impacted because models models have only seen so much information as to when they were trained. So if you ask it questions that it was not in the training data, it will not understand the question. So that's a problem number two. The third problem is that if you have only one AI, you can only do one thing at a time. So we figured out that the only way to solve all these problems that generative AI has right now is to have multiple AIs working together. And by doing that, you can effectively eliminate the memory issue. You can make them more accurate, and you can make them do however many things you want, depending on the number of agents. And essentially, Swarms enables people to build these multi-agent systems that you can customize for any industry: crypto, finance, insurance, healthcare, agriculture, manufacturing, quite literally anything. We have users in every industry. And yeah, we simply provide infrastructure for people to build their agents and deploy their agent applications.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Kai, for the introduction. And since this is a video live streaming, right? So both our speakers, please feel free to share your screens, and that would maybe help our audience to understand, because with visual elements, that would be perfect. Thank you so much. And also, I wanted to let everyone know that it's pretty interesting that three of us are in 3 different areas in the world, right? So for Trevor, it's probably around midnight in Australia.
Yeah.
And yeah, for Kai, it's super early morning in West Coast, and for me it's about noon over here in the East Coast. So it's just amazing that all 3 of us can finally find the time that work for us, and then to talk about AI. But before we talk about AI, let's first look at the market. As we could see, oh my goodness, lately the market conditions super bumpy, right? And some people even tell me, hey Moonlight, we strongly believe that right now we are entering bear market. Well, so how do you see this kind of impact, right? And also this kind of like momentum, right? Impact our broader AI sector, and more specifically AI Asian subsector in both the short and long term. Let's first hear your viewpoint, Trevor. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, people love direct topics, right? Like, I don't want to start off in an AMA, with a bunch of AI talks. So definitely, yeah, I think bull is not over. We need to see strong support from the 75K support line from the Bitcoin, and likely it will test around the 95K line. Will test. So with that consensus, however, the sentiment hasn't been really well. People have been swaying away from greed, and essentially, we can see that from early on in the bull run. So like when people were doing PvP on Solana, people worried about actually coins other than Bitcoin and Solana or Ethereum. So people played short on them like a lot, because people simply didn't have that greed. People wanted to sell within a few hours. So why was that? Like, essentially people were in the space for too long, and they wanted to be too close to the hype. So in the very early onset, we see a lot of AI founders at, for example, DevCon, Token 2049, talking about all of these like permissionless, decentralized distributed training, right, or inference, or a lot of these things, like very difficult to implement things. However, gradually, as we moved to like 2024, it was very obvious that people love memes, right? The reason being is that they want a fair opportunity to enter the market. So that is basically representation where people are swaying away from greed. Eventually, one of the 7 deadly sins, right? So short term, I think we're moving towards, I don't know, some people say the end of the Asian hype, but I think it's still the start of the Asian hype. Okay. Because Asian essentially has so many different forms. Right. Currently, what we're pushing out, a lot of the projects are saying that, we have Asian KOLs, or like, Asian acting as a person creating a media. For example,
I'm going to be replaced tomorrow. I'm going to be replaced tomorrow by Trevor's project. Never. Oh my goodness.
You can never be replaced.
Sorry, continue.
But it takes so many different forms, right? It could be a video on a real estate house, because I'm based in Melbourne, right? I look at the real estate here. The land actually here are perfect, like, for investments. So, but however, there aren't any advertising material for the land. If we have agents or AI in there to auto-generate marketing materials, and also have, for example, virtual landscape and experience of that of those models, could boost the sales. So things like that are more connected to the 2B or 2 business models. So I think it's just the start of agents where people are just trying. But as we move on to more 2 enterprise models, I think agents have much more potential to come. So bull's obviously not over, and I think just the start of the AI/agent run.
Yeah, actually, in the Web2 space, right? AI agents or AI tools, they are everywhere. They are in our everyday life. And earlier today, I just read a news report. Well, some high school or college student they admit that they rely on AI to do all of their projects or all of their assignments. And yeah, they tell the media about it. So now the school teachers are going to try to find other type of AI agents or AI tools to detect this kind of thing. So it's just interesting. It's everywhere. So I don't know why in the Web3 space it's kind of like people only focus on the meme token price, right? Instead of really look at the product itself. So we are also going to bring this same question to Kai, the founder of Swarms. Other than meme tokens, we know your team has been working on a lot of different things, right? Do you mind to let us know about how about the overall market condition? How does that impact to Swarms overall? Thank you.
Yes. So I'd say I'll start off with the first thing. I'd say the entire market right now is being manipulated. It's being manipulated by geopolitical events such as tariffs and global panic. The recently updated administration in America is changing some things, and the tariffs and whatnot are causing investors to become a little scared. And that's why we're seeing things start to sell off, because once you see the stock sell off, you can almost always predict that cryptos are going to sell off, Bitcoin, Solana, ETH, like all these different cryptos. I would say for most asset managers, like trillion-dollar asset managers, it's all relative based on how good stocks are doing. If stocks are doing good, then people will invest in crypto. If stocks are not doing good, then people will not invest in crypto, because crypto is essentially like an alternative asset class. And so people like BlackRock, people like Vanguard, people like State Street, these people invest in crypto if the overall stock market is doing good. And then when they invest, the entire crypto market goes up. So like I would say like the entire market now is severely undervalued, especially for like the most useful AI tokens and projects. I'd say a lot of the projects like meme agents should be valued less than where they are now, because they have no intrinsic benefits to people or to the economy. What I consider an economy is basically I provide value to you and you provide something back to me. That's an economy. Mm-hmm. And then if you have enough of that, then you have a sustainable economy. But the thing is, the people building these agents, like the meme agents, I don't think they really considered that there's no way to create an economy out of this, because there's no way to make money, right? Like if you build a meme agent on Twitter, and you make a token, okay, cool. You made a token, maybe it's worth a couple $1 million, but like there's no way to make revenue from this unless you sell your own token, which is that's not like a sustainable business. Mm-hmm. And so the way that I look at it is that our goal at Swarms is to keep accelerating the capacity of multi-agent infrastructure. We believe that multi-agent infrastructure is the only viable future for AI, because individual AIs are, again, they have very small memory, they're not very accurate, and there's only so many things you can do with just one of them. And so, like, especially in the enterprise, like more and more businesses are going to keep adopting agents at an increasingly accelerating rate. And so it won't be too long until probably every single business on the planet is using agents for something: sales, legal, building products. Like, agents could do so much now, and I think the market is not representative of this technology's capacity now, and that's what we're starting to see. Basically, in summary, the market is just being manipulated by tariffs and geopolitical events. It's not actually valued less than where it is. It's actually extremely undervalued, and I think pretty soon we're gonna start seeing like a pretty big resurgence, especially now that stocks are doing pretty good. Like Nvidia is up. You can basically tell if crypto is gonna go down based on whether or not Nvidia is up or down. It's a pretty accurate representation. But yeah, I think just focusing on the technology, providing more value to customers is the only way to really create a strong rebound and reclaim all-time highs. And that goes for any project.
That's very interesting thought. And since we mentioned about both Web 2 and Web 3, right? So what made blockchain or Web3 uniquely suitable for AI pipeline? Why didn't you guys just build your project in the traditional AI industry in the Web3 space? And also, how about let's talk about focusing on data and AI agents, right? Compared to the Web2 counterparts or Web2 competitors, similar projects. What made blockchain technology really unique, adding to both of your projects over here? As we could see in the Web3 space, I still have to say that most of the Web3ers or Web3 degens, right? We do care about token price, right? But in the Web2 space, we got a lot more real users who are willing to pay subscription fees if you have a very useful AI agent or AI tools, right? So why blockchain? And we are going to bring this question first to Trevor, the founder at Tagger. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So, like, obviously, like you said, degens care a lot about token price, but obviously, like, not without a reason, right? It's very important because currently they just simply don't actually see that 2C or two customer market or economy running on here, because we simply haven't been able to solve the problem that we don't have enough consumers in the blockchain. People come in with $10 wanting to earn 100, wanting to earn 1,000. So they're investors, or if not speculators. We don't have consumers actually wanting to consume technology. But eventually, I think that that loophole will break through within a few years from the two enterprise model. So basically, I think the core or the crux of what blockchain provides to the AI sector would be its authorization, or authorization and authentication. So basically doing that permissionlessly, verifying everything online. So in the case of, for example, data or agents, right, it would be to make an AI open, loyal, and monetizable at the same time, which sometimes cannot be done in the Web 2 world. But also, I think more importantly, in terms of tokenomics, what blockchain or crypto empowers people to do is that it allows normal people to participate. So basically into a shareable economy for two enterprise or two consumer businesses. So for example, in the case of agents, right? If you deploy an agent on the blockchain, let's not talk about some, for example, meme agents that doesn't actually have real utility. Let's say it's like actually a very good agent. In that case, people have a shareable economy and they invest in that agent itself. In future, the revenues may go back to the token holder. If we run a healthy investor, VC, and builder cycle, then that's good. But in the end, you can also have, like, for example, inter-agent economy. So I was looking at back then, I remember it was 2023, where we have Stanford Smallville. So we have one agent interacting with another. So for example, a doctor agent and for example, an agent who specializes in teaching. They live in the same town. They go to each other's houses, learn about how they interact, learn about each other's profession, learn about human interactions. In that case, they will pick up skills, for example, speaking skills, or for example, skills like social skills, like what do I perceive as a friend? Maybe it could be someone who talks to me the most. Maybe it could be someone who always say positive things about me. Mm-hmm. So these are skills, and these skills put in Web3 or in the crypto space would form inter-agent economy. So one agent could pay another, some tokens or whatever NFTs to trade skills in between. So in that case, we have authenticatable and verifiable flow between these agents. So I think it's always about authorization, authentication, and on top of that, allowing normal people to participate instead of just the big players like Microsoft, right? So that also comes to our crowdsourcing logic in Tagger. So we allow anyone to participate even without buying a token. So basically, you just come onto our website, log in, label data, like claim your task, label the data, you're finished, and you'll get Tagger straight away. It's not any it's not any points, reward point, no promise, just Tagger in your wallet. So that's like salary. That's like replacement for salary. But if you want to do more, you can do data review, and also all of the work you output we will sell it to enterprise businesses. So we've been in talk with a lot of Medicare, like medical like industries and offices. So we sell these models to them, and then the revenues we get, we'll invest back into our token for buyback to ensure the healthy tokenomics. So basically, it's allowing for normal people to participate. That's what crypto enables. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you so much, Trevor, for the explanation. And we also would like to hear from your viewpoint, Kai, the founder Swarms, especially you became an entrepreneur from very young age, right? So what made you wanted to build Swarms in the Web3 space? And also, how about talk about compared to maybe any similar projects in the Web2 space? How do you see that the blockchain provide anything unique, especially for AI agents? Thank you.
Yeah, I think there's like multiple dimensions of benefits here. The immediate first one that comes to mind is payments. So one of the big motivations as to why we even launched the token was because one of our big customers from China wanted to use Swarms, but they couldn't because AI is heavily sanctioned in China. So they wanted to get access to the best agents, but they couldn't because it's hard. Banking systems suck. They're slow. They're not reliable, et cetera, et cetera. So payments is the first one that comes to mind. The second one is community. So the ability for legitimate projects to build a community in Web3 is it's impeccable, honestly. The first day that we launched our token, I remember I was coming back from a dinner. My phone was completely dead. I go on Discord and I see 200 people in our Discord, and they're all like screaming, shouting, "Swarms, swarms, swarms!" And the token was launched at that point, but we didn't officially announce it. We said nothing, and somehow it blew up. It was already worth like $20 million. Wow. And then after that, like our Twitter follower went from like 500 followers to like 25,000 followers. Now it's almost like 48,000 followers. I've also met amazing people. I met, our team, Leon, Songshu, all of our amazing supporters and people like investing in us. It's incredible. Like the ability for a community to cultivate in Web3 is just, honestly, I'm speechless. This is like amazing. So there's payments, community, and then there's also users. So I think Web3 has a lot of people that are starting to develop in AI, and I think agents are uniquely suited to provide people with trading agents, agents that can create smart contracts, agents that can bridge tokens to other chains. Like there's just so many use cases in crypto, and a very interesting thing about crypto that doesn't apply with traditional finance, which was our biggest customer industry base before we got into crypto, is that like traditional finance, like stock trading, things like this is only happening from like 9 to 5, right? It will change in the future, but crypto never sleeps.
Right.
Crypto is never asleep. And I think it's like a very good user base for us to tap into and to essentially allow us to provide these people that want to build agents in Web3 with extreme precision and extreme reliability. So those are 3 benefits. I would say another one is the ability of fully autonomous governance. Like if you have all these contributors and people joining the team, I think it's good to like decentralize the team a bit, So it's contributing way, building the product, submitting like new code to the code bases. There's just so many new like contributors every single day, especially in Swarms. And building an economy out of this and rewarding these people is another benefit. And yeah, so those are a couple of the dimensions that I mentioned, but there's probably a lot more that I'm not mentioning now. But yeah, I think Web3 provides a lot of benefits. But I would recommend to people contemplating whether they should join Web3 or not to always remember to make a sustainable economy and a sustainable business. especially like before I got it, before we even thought about crypto or launching our token in December, we were already profitable. Like we already have cash flow, we already have users. Now we have 90,000 users, and before that, like our focus was just getting users. And so I would recommend people thinking about joining Web3 to always think about, you know, building a sustainable economy, building a sustainable business. And by doing this, you'll not only ensure you're providing value to your users, but also ensure your own survival as an organization.
Well noted. Thank you so much, Kai, for sharing your observation with us, right? Analyzing why Web3 is super important for an Asian project like Swarms. And next, we're going to turn to Trevor, the founder at Tagger again, because previously you mentioned Tagger, well, there's a lot of very important part is labeling data, right? So as we could see, that data is kind of like the lifeblood, right, for the AI initiative and a lot of other projects as well. So from your perspective, what role does data play in driving innovation within the AI Asian sector? Thank you.
Yeah, so put very simply, I think like Swarms and Tagger are pretty much have great synergies in the fact that data basically provide for agents, data provide for training and models, right? So in that case, right now, in the early onset, like when ChatGPT first came out at the end of 2022, we were saying that we have a extreme lack of compute supply. So that's when NVIDIA stock grew, right? So now we see a lot of like data and model distillation. So people using MOE algorithms. So to assign, for example, if you think of AI as a brain, right? They assign specific brain cells to specific tasks within the request. So it could be assigning part of the brain cells of the whole AI to, for example, a mathematics section. And it could use the other part for another reasoning section. And in the end, the outcome is less computing power required. Less computing power for inference, potentially less computing power for training. So right now, while compute supply, like the supply has been growing, the demand, well, still high, but not as high as before. So I think data has been growing increasingly scarce and increasingly important, because currently over 98% of what we left behind in the .com boom, so basically the Web 2 internet. Oops, sorry, my earphone just dropped. So basically 98% of what we left behind in the internet.com period has been straight for AI training, basically. So now we need new data, especially specialized data. It's very difficult right now to actually find a lot of, like, for example, medical, agricultural, and these data on the web. So we need to collect them. We need to find them from our enterprise partners. We need to label them and then hand it back. So these are new data out there that will cater for industry-specific agents. We have horizontal ChatGPT models that doesn't specialize, for example, in lung nodule detection. It can't do that, right? So in which case, for example, if Swarms were to do a medical, specialized medical agent, then obviously it would be a vertical model that specializes in that sector particularly. But the data required to make a vertical agent is very, very scarce. Right, people usually make agents out of the horizontal models, and this doesn't distinguish between each other like enough. So that's why data is very important right now. And also, I think data, especially in crypto industry, drives the AI innovation as a whole forward. Because I've been in talks with Build Your Dream as well. So like the car company, electric car company, they do data labeling they need data for like their autonomous driving system, so for autopilot. What they do is that they spend millions and millions of dollars every year just to safeguard the data from theft. So people like, their employees in the process of data cleaning, data processing, data labeling, they can't take their phones into the office, like 24-hour surveillance camera. And even when they do that, they need a highly secure server, in which case in blockchain, we can store it on Greenfield, we can store it on anything. So that's highly secure. But more importantly, when the data flows from one point to another, it's completely traceable and authenticatable. So what that means is that in Web 2, obviously you can't steal data from someone, right? That's illegal. but it doesn't prevent you from doing it. It's like, how your data flies all over the internet without you knowing. That's illegal, but people can still do it. And when you file them in court, it's just very complicated. But in, using the crypto sense, it's completely trackable. Once it happens, there's evidence. So when we have that, you can do data trading. So Build Your Dream, essentially, they train their models and they collect the data behind closed doors. They don't want to share with Tesla. They don't want to share with any other car companies because they spend so much money on it. Otherwise, they'll be stealing it. However, if you use blockchain, right, it will enable, for example, one car company to trade or share their data with another without it being stolen. So that's very important because people work behind closed doors. People don't collaborate. People work on their own. And that's basically hurting the growth of the AI industry as a whole. But with blockchain and with what we build at Tagger, with the authentication protocol, they can do that essentially because they're safe from all theft and they can trust each other permissionlessly. They can work together on a single data set without collecting separate data sets for each company, generating even more costs.
Got it. Thank you so much, Trevor, for letting us know about that. And Kai, we would also like to bring the same question to you, and especially what role do you think data play in driving innovations within the AI agent sector, specifically for Swarms? Thank you.
Yeah, I think Trevor touched up on a lot of the most relevant points. I think data. So data is extremely important, but I think we're starting to reach a limit as to the quantity of training data available on the internet. Like if you go on Hugging Face, like they have data sets for like everything. There's also the Pile, which is a couple of, I think it's petabytes, a couple of petabytes, but and it's always like continuously updated. But I think a lot of the most valuable data is being stored in like these private institutions, like healthcare applications, healthcare companies, financial companies. Well, actually, financial data is mostly public, but getting it historically is a little bit costly. You have to partner with NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange for stuff like this. Agriculture is a little bit difficult because like farmers aren't always live streaming or taking pictures of their crop and sharing it. So I think if you provide some financial incentive mechanism, then I think people would be more likely to provide their data in exchange for some money or something in return. It's like creating an economy, right? A sustainable data sharing economy where companies that didn't share any information in critical industries like agriculture or manufacturing are now incentivized to do so. And I think I definitely think crypto is really, really good for this. And I think that as building this data sharing economy is essentially within like, whether it be agriculture or healthcare, especially, a lot of the healthcare data is mostly private. Like I'd say like 70% of all healthcare data in the United States is mostly private. If we can somehow unlock this data and train models, anonymize the data, make it HIPAA, whatever, and then train models with this data, we could be saving millions and millions and millions of lives. And so I think it is like we just need to provide like a financial incentive to the people that hold all this private data to share it with the AI companies and the AI models. And so, basically, I would just say like build a data sharing economy, and if that's doing really well, people will be incentivized to provide data. And at Swarms, we've been training all new foundation models for some time now, and a lot of good information is public. Like you could train really, really good models from just public information. Like models like DeepSeek and GwenVL, like I think all these models were trained using public data sets. And so I think you can make a really, really good model with completely public information, but it won't be too specialized in any vertical or any it won't be specialized in like healthcare. It won't be amazing in healthcare. It won't be amazing in agriculture, but it will have some awareness of the entire of that entire vertical. So yeah, I would say like we need to make as much data open source as possible, and also make it like give people that hold data some financial incentive, because I think people like farmers would like to make additional income streams, right? People like healthcare data companies would like to make more revenue streams. Everybody wants more money. The deal just has to be right, and then they'll be incentivized to share their data.
Well noted. Thank you so much, Kai, for letting us know about that. And since we've been covering about data economy, right? So we would like to ask the next question over here, and to Trevor, the founder at Tiger, how do you see the evolution of AI agent and data economy in the Web3 or crypto industry, especially in terms of tokenomics and utility? Because, well, after all, token is still, or money, right, is still very important to all of our Web3ers. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So, like in terms of specifically tokenomics, I think, and utility as well, I think what blockchain essentially allows is two things. So, like main thing at the crux of the problem. So, one is a shareable economy for agents and data. The second being instant payments, cross-border payments, or payments that doesn't have to follow very strict regulations. So that's actually sometimes important for cross-border AI developments, where people can work together rather than, just behind closed doors. So I think what we're looking ahead, like if we look at the current market, right, a lot of these agent projects, they build 2C models. So basically what they're saying is that, okay, we're gonna, within this year or within the next year, we're gonna have so many, agent creations where, it might even exceed human creations, or it might exceed the number of human creations like on the internet. Mm-hmm. Obviously that might happen, but even if it does happen, we don't have enough consumers in the blockchain space, right? We don't even have enough consumers in the blockchain space to consume human productions. Well, then where's the consumer for the AI production? However, I very look forward to the two enterprise models, like what Swarms is doing right now as well. So I think two enterprise models will definitely, or most likely, come before the two consumer models in blockchain. So for mass adoption, because business essentially just look at how valuable your product is, rather than, they don't really care about, easy onboarding. They don't really care about a lot of the other hypes. They just care about your product. And if your product is useful, no matter what you are, whether you're Web 2 or Web 3, they use you. So we want to break open from the two enterprise. So I think a very good synergy between data and agent, well, maybe in a few years to come, is RLAIF. So reinforcement learning from AI feedback. Basically, like how Kai and I said, most of the data has been scraped to build horizontal models. We need more specific data, right? So currently we have a lot of humans generating data, but obviously that's very slow. We need AI to generate data themselves. So for example, if you have one agent talking with another constantly within a system, then you could also have, well, something like, in simple words, would be a data assessor. So that data assessor can change some of the parameters, can also assess whether the communication or the output between two AI is genuine or is correct, right? It will take out these garbage data and then leave behind what's actually useful. And these data are AI generated, AI assessed, AI outputted. And these become true data that we will use to do active learning and retrain models. So, that becomes a healthy cycle for generating data, and that's too big. We don't sell data to consumers like everyday, retail consumers. We sell it to businesses. So that's something I very look forward to, and also in a shareable economy that's able to happen in an agent society essentially. Also need a, to market hype, because I think a lot of the people or a lot of the venture capitals actually tell you that, you need a very, very good business model or proof of concept. Obviously, that's very important. You need to have that. You need to generate revenue. But the projects that tend to actually focus way too much on revenues might not have the edge over ingenuine products or products that just focus on token price in the market. they might not have the competitive edge. But I think while we're doing all of these two enterprise mass adoption work, we also need to pay attention to market price and market hype as well. So I think that's also an edge where edge for data and agent as well. Because agent, you can have creations, you can have visualized hype. So they're somewhat related to means, but with utility, it creates a visual sense to users to generate hype. So yeah, I think that's also very important, and that's how I see the evolution.
Well noted. Thank you so much, Trevor. And how about your opinion, Kai, on this topic? How do you previously you mentioned about medical data, right? About 70% of them are actually not accessible. And so, how do you see the evolution of data economy and AI agents, especially in the Web3 industry? Thank you.
Yes. I think so. Data over the past couple of decades, especially since the start of Facebook, the start of Instagram, people are very now since these companies have been basically collecting people's data completely for free and giving nothing in return, people are a little bit more concerned about their data in a consumer sense. The average daily person, the mentality of the average daily person who is just going about their life and who might want to use AI is probably going to be even more skeptical of sharing data with people. And so I think in a consumer sense, it's already here. And then for enterprises, the data scarcity mentality is probably here. So enterprises are very skeptical of giving companies their data, AI companies. And so I think a lot of if a big enterprise is going to give you some information, you need to be very, very intent on keeping this data secure and abiding by their wishes, because if you don't, then they'll most likely not do business with you. So I would make sure I would recommend we are HIPAA compliant, we are SOC 2 compliant, we have all these data security frameworks compliance, so that we can take steps to ensure that customer data is secure. Because especially enterprises want extreme security and data privacy, especially in Web 2. So in Web 3, people are a little bit more open source and people share information more freely and available. But within Web 2, traditional Web 2 companies, especially the Fortune 500, these companies are very, very, very I'd say worried or anxious about their data being leaked or being malused by some AI companies. So I'd recommend just keeping everything as secure as possible, and giving your users and your customers a reason to trust in you. I think trust is the fuel of capitalism. It's like oil. If someone does not trust you, they will not do business with you. And so I think trust is very important here. And yeah, I think as I mentioned before, I think there needs to be some economy. There needs to be some financial incentive for either healthcare companies, agriculture companies, or manufacturing companies, like some of these industries that have a bunch of data but won't share it, to give you this information and put it to use. Give it to agents, and have agents do something useful with this information. Yeah. I think maybe we could do something build something like this in the future, or find other ways of encouraging people to open source their data sets. But again, they're skeptical because this information is really valuable, because they spend years cultivating it and probably a lot of money and a lot of manpower. So if the right deals are being made, then people will share more and more information, and more AIs will be specialized in these specific verticals. But I think we just need to iterate on the value proposition of this and create good deals, and then the agents will be trained on more and more specialized data.
Gotcha. Yes. Well, talking about specialized data, I know that Reddit, right? This platform finally start to earn a bunch of money because they sell their users' data to different AI companies. But yeah, of course, the users are questioning to the platform because users never receive any benefits, right, from this. But they have been selling, wow, the past probably 10 years of data, right, to large AI firms. And also another question is how long can they still keep this kind of revenue ongoing, because maybe after 2 or 3 years all other AI, well, big heads, right, they already have those data, enough data, and they say, okay, that's enough, yeah, we don't need any more data. So yeah, they would lose this kind of method, right, to earn more income for their company as well. Those are a lot of things that we might also wanted to continue consider about for the data economy's evolution. But thanks so much everyone for sharing this, and let's also talk about the next topic and circle back to talk about this cycle, right? Because this crypto cycle is really controversial, with some strongly advocating to build good fundamentals, right, and real world revenue models, while others might focus solely on token price, especially meme tokens, right? People saying this cycle seems like for Solana, right, it's kind of like a meme token cycle or a Bitcoin cycle. So what do you think should be the main priority for AI funders and projects during this interesting cycle? Let's first bring this question to Trevor, the founder at Tagger. Thank you.
Yeah, I think early on in this bull run, like a lot of AI founders actually early on in the bull run didn't really look forward to memes. They always think that meme doesn't have utility. All of these things with speculative hype doesn't actually reach mass adoption and doesn't help anything, just do harm. But in fact, I think it's a very good thing in a transitional phase of the cycle where people are still not ready yet for, overly mature blockchain infrastructures, blockchain markets, and they're still transitioning from their past knowledge. But, I think what AI founders or, founders in general in this cycle need to focus on, and personally for me as well, is not to jump too far ahead. Because personally, 2 years ago, back in 2023, I was building, I was programming and like building one project with a lot of other people on something similar to Stanford Smallville. So I was doing decentralized training, basically distributed training. So basically, if you contributed your computing power from, for example, your laptop when you're not using it to a network, then we can use that compute supply to do inference or training. And when nobody's using that training power, we will use it to train our own Stanford Smallville. But which obviously, like each agent will have their own Twitter account. That sounded much like what was actually on the hype or exactly on the trend like a few months ago. But we did it 2 years ago. So like, don't jump too far ahead, because back then the infrastructure is simply not different from what we have now. And it's also the market is different from what we have now. So I think, crypto, in a sense, you don't want to be left behind, but you don't want to jump too far ahead, because we always want to build what the market wants, right? We want to build what's correct, but at the same time, what the market wants. Sometimes these two are a bit, contradictory, because what people essentially want, especially degens, they want $10 to turn into 100, to turn into 1,000. But if you're just like, building revenue itself, then you might sway away from that market hype or market sentiment. But that won't, then you'll lose that competitive edge, because essentially the reason why, for example, in Web2, a company needs to go on NASDAQ is to improve its cash flows, to improve everything, right? The companies that doesn't go on NASDAQ simply just doesn't have the edge over the ones that do, well, most of the time. So in crypto, it's still the same. So I think for me personally, or for founders in general, priority would just be to first stay alive in the cycle. So you don't want to be behind. You don't want to be behind on the trend, on the hype, the market. The marketing, maybe you need to go with what people or the degens want. So that's why, Tagger, we also, on top of generating revenue, on top of providing for enterprise businesses, on top of developing actually these like real utility, we also, design mascots. We also put 20% of our tokens on 4Meme, so which is the fair launch meme token platform. But we launched it where people had to data label to actually get the memes. Not the memes, the tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's a new, new way of distributing a token that follows what's happening in the cycle. So as we live onwards, right? For example, a few more years, when the market, by the market, I mean like a healthy VC builder market cycle. So basically the builders build what the market wants, what people want, right? And then the VC invests in the builders, and VC invests in what earns money. And if the market is not healthy, if the people don't want healthy things, then the builders I'm simply not going to build healthy things. Then people who don't generally build will win the competition. So, we don't want that. But like if we, for example, look 5 years later, obviously the market won't be like that anymore. So currently, just do what we should do, like do, all the things that will lead us to mass adoption, all of the healthy things that a builder should do, but at the same time, pay very, very close attention to what the market wants. We don't want to jump too far ahead. Yeah.
Got it. Yes, we need to build the right thing at the right moment, right? When the market is going to accept this. This is really important. Thank you so much, Trevor. And what's your viewpoints on this question, Kai? As a funder at Swarms, right? What do you think that builders should focus on or to be a priority, especially for AI funders during this cycle? Thank you.
So I do think there needs to be a sustainable economy. You should make revenue. Revenue is fun, but you should also generate hype. Like you need hype, and I would say theoretically the best route someone can take. And this is what we're focusing on now, is like have a lot of revenue and also have really good tokenomics, because really good tokenomics will lead to hype, which leads to theoretically more users, which means more revenue. So I would say like having this, like having both, having, like creating a sustainable business and also having like hype and really good tokenomics. And even though the market is down, like our personal Swarm token holders, like wallets has been steadily growing. It hasn't really dropped. So like I would say like having like a really good tokenomics and having really good revenue is probably the best strategy someone could take. And so I do think real world revenue models will lead to a survival in the long term. Like if you look at like projects like Virtuals and AI16Z, like these people are not making any revenue. They're not generating any form of revenue or money. And so it's very likely that they will not survive as a business for very long, because there's no like they're not making anything, right? So in a real economy, in a real business, you have to generate some revenue from something. Otherwise, you will at some point go out of business. VCs will not invest in you without the likelihood of them making a lot of money. And so the only way to make a lot of money for investors is to make a lot of revenue, and then by making a lot of revenue, your valuation will go higher, which will make your investors happy, and they will make money. And so this entire ecosystem of users, founders, and investors, this whole triangle needs to be complete and fully self-sustaining for a massive economy to emerge. Like I would say like the token price fluctuations and things like that, I would say like especially now, like there's just so much geopolitical stuff happening, like tariffs and wars and stuff. And so all these different things are disrupting the markets, and the market now is severely undervalued. So I would say take a more short-term thinking, very blatantly put, is that short-term thinking is a disease. Okay. I think we need to be focused on the long term, and we need to be focused on this technology in the long term, because if you just stare at a chart all day, like you're just going to see the chart. You're not going to actually try the product. And if you don't try the product, you won't know how good the business actually is. And so how good the product is, you won't know how good the tech is. So I would say like during these times of market fluctuations and market manipulation, I would say look at like the core business, look at like the core products, look at the core technology, and evaluate this. because if you just look at a chart, like it's not really indicative of anything substantial other than buys and outs. But why are people buying? That's probably a much better question than actually looking at a chart. And for AI founders, especially within Web3 and crypto, I would say like do research, do something new. Like don't do what other people have been doing before. We need new things. I really think like most of Web3 virtuals, AI16Z, and even other people, like these people have not done anything new. Like people have been doing this for 3-4 years already. And it's not like it's really not like innovative. And so I would say like people should focus on like innovative stuff, do actual research, and then turn that research into products people can use, like Manus from China. Like these people are amazing. They did something new. They made a really fast multi-agent system where they basically combine like research and also browser execution. And so they blew up. They did something new, and it blew up, and people were talking about them. So just do something new, do research, and turn that research into a good product with a good experience, and you can leverage agents. And I don't think, like, especially in Web3, like there hasn't been that many useful agents. There's been like meme agents and things like this, but like we need healthcare agents, we need agriculture agents, we need manufacturing agents, we need insurance agents. There's just so many agents that is missing from the market. We built MCS, which is a Medical Coder Swarm, and Medical Coder Swarm was probably like the first agentic, useful, actual real-world system for medical applications. And basically how it works is it's a swarm of agents. You can give it like lab data, your personal lab data, or you can even just give it your symptoms. And then these agents will process this data. They will talk to each other, and then they'll give you a potential diagnosis. They'll give you different diagnoses of what you potentially could have. And it'll also tell you how to treat these diseases in a non traditional medicine, and also non-traditional medicine. So you could get it'll tell you, okay, you should take these drugs, but also it'll give you non-modern medicine if you want. And so like something like this, we need more useful agents in crypto. They can't just be all memes and all like propaganda. It has to be actually useful.
Yeah, actually useful products. This is actually, I would say, a common problem for so many Web3 projects, right? Because as we could see, we'll take an example other than AI Asian sector, right? How about layer 2 sectors? We have like hundreds of layer 2s, but so many of them don't really have a lot of real users over there. After TGE, okay, farmers would just drop and leave the project. It's really difficult. Just like our fundamental problem is that we don't have enough users right now. And well, actually, Kai, you mentioned sustainable tokenomics, right? That's actually the next topic that we would like to talk about, because for so many years in the Web3 space, we have been looking for a sustainable economic or tokenomic model, right? So we would like to ask both our speakers, in your viewpoint, what is the most viable economic framework for an AI project to thrive through market cycles right now, really bumpy, right, and remain resilient for many years to come? We want it to be a long-term project, right? We don't want to like a lot of other projects like just short lifespan, maybe 1 year or one cycle, and then the next cycle they're all gone. They stop to update their X handles, and their Discord server becomes silent, and no one talk about that, and the token price going down and until it went zero, right? So we'd like to ask both our funders your opinion on this topic. And let's go to Trevor, the founder at Tagger, first. Thank you.
Yeah, because I completely agree with what Kai said, how we need to actually focus on innovative and things with real utility, and, you generate real world revenue. But I think for a viable economic model that will survive in the long term is first, obviously, you need to, you don't have to be doing too well, but you need to live through the short term, right? At least, because if you don't have the short term, you won't survive till the long term. So in that case, we need a model that attracts users. Firstly, in the short term, we need a model that attracts users. And initially, remember in 2023, where, some projects out there under-delivered. The reason why that is because they held too much promise. They basically, all of the airdrops or all of the tokens that were supposed to be earned by the users were basically centrally stored. It's not put into the wallet. It's not TGE. It's just points, reward points. So eventually people realize that, you don't get enough airdrops. And after TGE, people just sell. So that's an unhealthy model. I think a much more healthier model, especially in data labeling or a shareable agent economy, is where you have instant payments. So instant payment after TGE. So for example, if you do a data labeling task on Tagger, you claim it, you get that exact amount of token in your wallet the next day. So that's basically equivalent to a cross-border instant salary to people. So people get it, and they're not basically just put into like a unhealthy promise cycle. I promise you today, I promise you tomorrow, I promise you again. So that's when people, lose confidence. So essentially, after 2023, we saw, in 2024, we saw fair launch platforms, because essentially people don't want to buy into stories anymore. People don't want to see, a lot of coins with a lot of selling pressure from venture capital. People want fair entry points. So in the tokenomics, I think, especially for open source or especially for crowdsourcing projects, or especially for Tagger, the fair launch aspect is very important. We don't want any part of the token to be, taken away from us to unfair selling pressure. We want it to be an autonomous and a community framework where people manage the tokens. So then initially we tried an experiment. So we put 20% of tag on 4.meme to actually do the fair launch. And everything after that will be proof of human work. So once you label one task or do data review for one task, you'll get the corresponding rewards for the task directly into your wallet. So that's like a mining, especially for except for Bitcoin, it will be mining in terms of compute supply. Here you mine using human power, using your knowledge or using your effort and contributions. And we allow anyone to do it. So that's actually also a very important fair launch. So in the short term, because people no longer buy into stories. But I think a downside could be that, if you just always airdrop things or always send tokens to people to work as wallets, you face selling pressure, right? Essentially. So who would be the people that buy your token, or who would be the people who consume your token? Then that buyback must come from revenue. Because, if you are basically just handing tokens to people, that's an inflationary model. If something is inflationary and you hand it to people, you're going to face selling pressure. Then where's the inflationary asset or funds that come into your project? Then it must be the revenue that you generate in Web 2, because you're not just going to expect more and more speculators or investors to actually just buy your coin on chain. Right? That's an unhealthy model. So that makes it like a meme, essentially. So if you wanted to have real utility, we generate real revenue and use these revenue to buy back tag tokens to support all of these selling pressure. So in that case, for example, if someone received $1 USD equivalent in tag for one piece of data, we can sell that same data for $1 in Web 2, and then use that $1 to buy back whatever they sell. So that's essentially the model here. So I think, obviously, I agree a lot with Kai, that real revenue income proof of concept, all venture capitals will also always ask you for the proof of concept. That's for the long term. If you don't have that, you won't live past even this year. Maybe next year, maybe 2 years later, when Trump actually roll out regulations, when things, when Web 2 start to reach, when Web 3 or crypto industry starts to reach the real world, if you don't have real revenue, if you don't have proof of concept, you're not going to survive. So that's for the long term, after the short term. And especially also government and regulation. I think in terms of projects in general and also tokenomics, we need to build a bridge between the creators and the consumer. So, as an example, for example, I loved NFTs back then in 2021. Well, for its art, for its culture, right? Degen culture. But the reason why, for example, music NFT didn't actually succeed, kind of like, Justin Bieber had those music catalogs on the blockchain. Why it didn't really do well was because I think the story behind those music NFTs is that, okay, I can trace copyright law. I can trace if someone used it on YouTube without my permission, and I make it a decentralized asset with my sole ownership. But that doesn't essentially happen eventually, because when you take that to court, it's difficult to trace. There's no protocol that actually secures and connects your creation to YouTube. It doesn't connect you to Spotify. It doesn't connect you to distributors. It doesn't connect you to record labels. So essentially, that's just a story. But we need to connect something in between. Oh, well, personally, I love music as well. I do music and I write songs in my hobby time, so spare time. So basically, when I want to submit a song to Spotify, then I need to go through a distributor called CD Baby or DistroKid. So these people or that company collects my revenue from Spotify for me, and I give them my copyright, authorization. If you do a Web3 or decentralized equivalent of CD Baby or distributor, then you're actually connecting the NFT to Spotify. So you just built the bridge between the creations and your consumers. So in the case of data or agents, then for data, the people who does the data work and produces the data are the creators. The consumers are either enterprises who need to train detection models or AI models, or potentially consumers, like individual retail consumers. So what connects them in between is a data authentication protocol, much like the music example that I said before. So once you have those authentication protocols backed, even potentially by the government or regulations within a few years, that will definitely be the strongest backbone of your long-term growth. Yeah. So that would be crucially important. Yeah.
That's really smart. And also bring us back to the previous cycle, right? Oh my goodness, back in 2021, those JPEGs could sell for 100 Ethereum or 1,000 Ethereum. Oh my goodness, monkeys or other, JPEGs.
Yeah.
Oh wow, great old memories. And also the music NFTs. Oh my goodness, I was part of it. I was part of the industry. I was ambassador of certain music NFT project, and also we try to onboard singers with 20 million followers across platforms, right, to the Web3 space. And Shidi came to our interview at Binasife and push out her very first music NFT. But of course, just like the issues that we all know, right, it's so difficult to create successful music NFT projects. So that's why this cycle we don't really see any big names, right, famous singers or artists that they wanted to come to Web3 anymore. So if we could solve that, that'll be awesome. And now let's go to Kai. As a founder at Swarms, what do you think would be sustainable economic or tokenomics model for your project to survive beyond this cycle? Thank you.
Yeah, so as many people know, we launched on Pump Fund. The reason why we did this is because, well, first, it was very easy to do so. Historically, launching a token has been very complicated. You'd have to write a smart contract and do a bunch of weird stuff. But yeah, Pump Fund has essentially built a place where like you can make a token, people can see it. If you're a somewhat legit person, people will buy this token. But a mistake that we did in the beginning is that we didn't buy enough tokens. We only had around 2-3% of all supply, and so that's I think fair launch has been amazing for us. Like we got listed on every exchange, Binance, OKX, HTX. Like we're on literally every exchange. Anybody can buy Swarms from any place. But the mistake we made is that we made it too fair.
Yeah.
We made it too fair of a launch. Now basically what we've been doing recently is we created our DAO where Swarm investors, Swarms holders can invest in the DAO we'll manage this out to grow the ecosystem, to pay for infrastructure, to grow our team, and they'll get essentially a revenue share of all the revenue that we make from any of our products, from either the Swarms API, Swarms platform, or we also have Create and MCS. And so we basically have like this revenue sharing model where we essentially distribute our revenue to token holders. And we'll also have staking and a couple of other features. Like we're going to be launching our autonomous trading firm with agents. So all the profits that we make, people can invest, and any profits they make will be essentially redistributed to them. And the agents will be the one trading. So there's a lot of different ways to make revenue here. And we want to have like a really revenue generating tokenomic model. And so we've been generating revenue for like almost 2 years now. But it's especially like the thing is though, like our goal is to generate as much revenue as possible by providing people a really, really valuable service, and then distribute revenue to our token holders and our DAO members. And so by doing this, we can create a fully sustainable ecosystem where we not only survive as a business, but we're also incentivizing our contributors, team members, investors to keep investing into the company, whether it's helping us with new deals, helping us get new team members, or helping us secure partnerships and closing deals. So that is what we are doing personally. But in an ideal world, I would say like having a fair launch is really good because anybody can invest. It's like kind of like going public on the New York Stock Exchange. Anybody can invest. But I would recommend that people hold more tokens. The team should own 40%, like at the minimum. But if you hold 40%, you should vest this or lock this. You shouldn't I'd say vesting. I think locking is not a good system, but I would say vest it. And even though my arch nemesis Shaw has even spoken on this issue because he also faced that same problem. And I think a lot of other people are facing this problem now, where if you do a fair launch, I do think that it can damage the tokenomics if the team itself does not have a decent percentage of the tokens, because the team needs to be incentivized. But the problem with this is if you hold too many tokens, people are scared that you're going to sell. So the way to combat this is to, if you launch a token, you have to vest it immediately. That's what we did. So with Swarms, I literally went live in front of like 8,000 people or something, and I literally like vested my tokens. We also did that with MCS. So I do think that like the team should have around 40%. You could have less, less than that if you want, but the team has to be incentivized to keep building. Otherwise, the project's not going to survive, and the investors are going to lose their money. So, but the thing is, the problem with this entire crypto system is that if you look at traditional finance, traditional equity, companies hold, like the founding team will own 100% of the company, and VCs will only own a very small percentage in the early rounds, especially like seed or pre-seed. Like for pre-seed or seed, like investors will only get 10%, and the team still owns 90% of all stock. So it's very weird because for us now, raising crypto VC is a little bit difficult, right? Because we don't have 100% of the tokens. But Web2 VCs, like Web2 VCs will invest because you have stock. So I think this whole system is a little bit weird because traditional finance system works pretty well. But like crypto, like if you want to tokenize your stock, you should probably start off like 100. Like the team owns 100%, and then you can start like selling gradually, because I do think that like projects do need VC resources. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's kind of like a problems that I've been seeing very, very frequently. So, yeah, I do think if you're going to do fair launch, you should hold 40%, for VCs, for market makers, exchanges, marketing ecosystem. Like people need all these different there's many different ways of allocating your tokens. And I do think there needs to be like the team should have tokens to at least 40% ideally invested, and then the other 60% could be sold on open markets. That's a system that I think theoretically would be really sustainable. And another thing is, like, if the team has many tokens and the team is not full of scammers, then that'll also hold off, because if more and more supply is subject to the market, people, like, if panic spreads, people will sell and sell and sell, and then the team, which owns a small percentage, they cannot stop the selling and this panic bear activity. So yeah.
Got it. Wow. Thank you so much, Kai, for letting us know about that. And once again, good luck to both our funders over here building strong projects in the Web3 space. We had Trevor, the founder of Tagger, and Kai, founder of Swarms, joining us today to talk about new economic model, especially in the Web3 and AI sector, which was amazing. Thank you all for sharing your very genuine opinions to of our audience who are streaming on multiple platforms. And let me check. Yeah, on Binance side, we have over 10,000 live views, and we also had several other platforms with lots of audience supporting over here. Thank you so much for spending time with us. I'm going to add to the video and find some spotlights, right? And then to repost again, probably tomorrow or on Wednesday. So more of our friends could be able to come back to replay and watch it. Thank you. And well, before we wrap up, do you guys have anything like you wanted to add to this session as an ending?
I would say just build useful things, help people. If you focus on building useful things that help people, you will make money. Do not prioritize making money, because by thinking about money, you will not make money. To make money, especially in a capitalist society, you have to provide value to people, and then you will make money as a consequence of providing value. So it's like a chain consequence effect. Provide value, then you make money. And I think a lot of AI projects in crypto could benefit from this philosophy. But yeah, build useful agents, build agents that help people, build agents in useful industries, agriculture, manufacturing, healthcare, save lives, and you'll make a lot of money.
Got it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah, and also on top of value, also time as well. Because like if you're continuously building value, then you'll survive longer and longer and longer. Don't be like a waterfall, right? Essentially, a lot of projects are like waterfall out there. They just pour all of the water down at once and have nothing left. They might earn some money, but I think not as much as the last bull run, the previous bull run in 2021. So right now, people are swaying away from greed, keeping away from greed. So I think the better thing to do is to run like a river, right? You pour very slowly, but you live for longer, because the crypto space is never like lacking opportunity. So if you, for example, if you survive for 2 to 3 years, obviously, or 3 to 4 years within that time frame and continuously build value, then there will be a few months, or if not a few years, or if not even more than 5 years, where you will get your trend, where you'll get your opportunity. Yeah, time is very important as well.
Nice. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing the idea with us. And let's continue to build. And looking forward to seeing you at our next space session or somewhere on Binance Live. Thank you.
Thank you, Moonlight, for having
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
You too. See ya. Bye.
Awesome. I'm going to play some upbeat music to wrap our session. And feel free to contact our
Cool.
Okay, dokie friends, this is another amazing session. Oh my goodness, with our builders, AI project builders in the Web3 space. Oh wow. Let me double check over here. Yeah, today we are streaming across platforms. Oh my goodness. Let me check. We are on Binance Live, and we're on the front page of Binance Live. Ooh, I think I need to share. Let me turn the music down a bit. Yeah, today we are being featured on the front page of Binance Live. Let me share the screen over here to everyone to take a look. Definitely need to see it. I'm going to remove our banner over here. Did you see that? Yes. That's our event. It's being featured on front page of Binance Live. We're talking about new economic order. And friends, if you missed that, don't worry. Just come back to our link and you will be able to watch it again. And we're also streaming on Sidekick. I'm going to share this as well. This is a very interesting new platform that I can show the video streaming. Okie dokie. Oh, it seems like I need to log in again. Okay, let me play the music while I'm trying to log into the platform. Okay, yes, here. I am also on Sidekick. Let me see how I can share my screen over here to friends. So I think I can, show it like this. So Basic Psychic is another interesting platform, and we can streaming while also looking at the token at the same time, which is pretty cool. And right now it seems like it doesn't show the second label, but later I will screenshot it so people can see it. And we are also on Loose Space. Oh my goodness. Yeah, over Loose Space we have our audience over here joining us as well. And let me also check. We're of course on our Twitter live streaming. Twitter live streaming is something that we have been like streaming on for about 2-3 years. Yeah, it's just really interesting that it's not available for all of the accounts. And also the function, I would say the algorithm sometimes is also quite interesting because sometimes they fold the video. So not many people are able to find it on Twitter. But that's okay. Overall, we had great turnout today. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us to this live event. We will have some important highlight. Tomorrow I'm going to write another post about it and also share some cool screen recording. So for people who missed this event, no worries. You will be able to get some insights from our review as well. Thank you.